Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm so glad you've joined us. And if you've been following along, welcome home. Today I want to have a real, honest conversation about something people always assume when they hear me speak English fluently. They say things like, "Wow, you're so lucky," or "You must be naturally gifted at languages." But let me tell you the truth. I wasn't born speaking English. In fact, I struggled for years. I used to freeze in conversations, overthink every sentence, and translate everything in my head before I spoke. It felt exhausting. I wasn't confident, and I definitely didn't feel fluent. So what changed? Not a miracle. Not some magic course. What changed was my habits. Daily, simple, consistent habits that turned English from something I studied into something I lived, from a school subject into a second skin. In today's video article, I'm going to share with you 7 habits that truly transformed my English, and more importantly, how you can start using them today. You don't need expensive tools or perfect grammar. What you need is a shift in how you practice, how you think, and how you show up each day. Let's dive into the habits that made the difference and could change everything for you too. 1. I spoke English out loud every single day. Speaking is not just a skill, it's a muscle. And like any muscle, it weakens without regular use. That's why I made it a personal rule to avoid silent learning. Even when I was by myself, I committed to speaking aloud every single day. I didn't wait for a language partner. I became my own partner. I would narrate my actions as I performed them, saying things like, "I'm making coffee," or "This room needs cleaning." I often practiced in front of a mirror to focus on both my facial expressions and my voice, and I tried to infuse each phrase with real feeling, which made it more engaging and memorable. Practicing daily helped train my vocal cords, reduce my hesitation, and build a deeper connection with the language. 2. I shadowed native speakers, deeply and repeatedly. Shadowing became one of my favorite and most powerful tools. Instead of just listening to native speakers passively, I copied their every sound, immediately and with full attention. I didn't just repeat words. I mimicked their tone, rhythm, and expression. I selected 1-minute clips from interviews, movies, or YouTube, then slowed them down and repeated each sentence right after I heard it. Sometimes I recorded myself and compared it to the original. I focused on matching the emotion, the pauses, and even the breath patterns of the speaker. Over time, this helped me develop not only clearer pronunciation, but a much more natural and confident delivery. 3. I stopped learning words and collected phrases instead. I used to write down long lists of vocabulary, thinking it would help me speak better. But in real conversations, I never knew how to use those words. That changed when I began collecting full phrases. Every time I heard a useful expression in a podcast or TV show, I wrote it down in a notebook I called my phrase journal. I didn't stop there. I created my own sentences using the phrase, then tried to say or write them during the day. Expressions like, "That makes sense," or "to be honest," became automatic because I practiced them in context. This habit turned English from a puzzle into a set of ready-made tools I could use anytime. 4. I trained my brain to think in English. Translation was slowing me down. In conversations, I was always one step behind, trying to convert my thoughts from my native language into English. So I made a decision. Start thinking directly in English. I started with small things, like naming the objects around me or describing what I was doing. I'm walking to the store. The sun is shining. I need to cook dinner. I also used prompts like photos or memories to create mini stories in my mind in English. Over time, this mental shift helped me become faster, more fluent and more confident, because my brain stopped translating and started thinking like a speaker of English. 5. I used English in real conversations, imperfectly. Fluency isn't born in books. It's forged in real conversation. I stopped waiting for the perfect moment or perfect grammar. I just started speaking even when I was nervous. I joined language exchange apps, posted comments in English online, and scheduled weekly voice chats with partners. I practiced asking questions and sharing opinions, even if I made mistakes. Sometimes I would stumble, but I kept going, because that's where real growth happens. The pressure of a real interaction pushed me to listen actively, respond quickly, and adapt my English naturally. Each imperfect conversation built my fluency far more than any grammar exercise ever could. 6. I recorded myself and analyzed it like a coach. At first, recording myself felt awkward, but I quickly realized how valuable it was. Each week, I picked a topic, like my weekend or a book I love, and spoke for 1 to 2 minutes into my phone. Afterward, I listened back like a coach. What sounded clear? Where did I hesitate? Which words were hard to pronounce? I made small notes and tried again the following week. Sometimes I would re-record the same topic to track my improvement. This habit allowed me to hear what others heard and fix my weaknesses before I faced a real conversation. It also helped me celebrate my progress and recognize how far I'd come. 7. I turned English into a lifestyle, not just a task. The biggest transformation happened when I stopped seeing English as an assignment. I started living in it. I changed my phone language, followed English content creators on social media, listened to English podcasts while cooking, and watched Netflix with English subtitles. I even kept a personal diary in English. Each day, I carved out small but meaningful English moments during breakfast, on walks, or before bed. This daily exposure made the language feel like a natural part of my life, not something I had to study. It reduced stress, increased joy, and kept my motivation alive. Conclusion: you don't need more time, just better habits. Here's the truth. You don't need more hours in the day to become fluent. You just need better habits. Fluency isn't a prize for perfection, it's a reward for persistence. These 7 habits change the way I think, speak, and live in English, and I've seen them work for my students too. If your goal is to speak with ease, think clearly in English, and express yourself without fear, start today. You don't need to master all 7 habits at once. Begin with 1. Make it yours. Practice it daily. The path to fluency doesn't live in your future. It lives in the small choices you make right now. Speak today. Write today. Practice today. Because each step forward is building the English speaker you're becoming. So, which habit will you start with today?